You don't need more motivation. You need a mind that obeys your command. This audiobook isn't about hype. It's about rewiring the circuits that control your focus, energy, and destiny. Every chapter is a tool to turn hesitation into power and chaos into clarity. Listen closely. By the end, you won't just think differently. You'll be different. If you're ready to rise above the noise tap, like it tells YouTube, you're choosing awareness over autopilot. Subscribe now and don't miss the next chapter in your evolution. And remember, the deepest transformation belongs to those who stay until the very end. Introduction. You don't get a better life by waiting. You get it by building better habits. That one truth holds the weight of every transformation you'll ever seek. Because life doesn't suddenly improve with luck, timing, or external permission. It shifts the moment you decide to direct your energy with intention. Your current life is a mirror of your daily patterns, what you do, what you allow, what you focus on. Every habit is a vote you cast for the person you're becoming. If you've felt stuck, tired, or lost, it's not because you're broken. It's because your habits are misaligned with your vision. The good news, your brain and energy system are built for change. You are wired for rewiring. Neuroscience calls it neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to reroute pathways when new behaviors are repeated. Spiritual science calls it energy redirection, where attention becomes vibration and vibration becomes form. In truth, both are the same. Where your attention goes, reality flows. Every choice you make today, what you think, what you consume, how you move, how you speak to yourself, is either reinforcing limitation or awakening expansion. Every repetition is either programming stagnation or strengthening potential. The universe is neutral. It reflects your most consistent signal. That signal is your habit. You can rebuild your entire mindset, not through dramatic events, but through daily calibration. One intentional morning, one conscious action, one corrected thought. Not next month, not next year now. Momentum begins when resistance ends. Motion, no matter how small, ignites a new frequency within you. This audiobook will walk beside you through 15 habits that rewire your mental, emotional, and energetic architecture. These aren't abstract ideas. They are living practices designed to strengthen your focus, stabilize your mood, amplify your clarity, and restore your internal command. You'll learn to start your day with direction, protect your attention, and master the voice inside your mind. You'll learn how energy, discipline, and biology are not separate forces, but one system you can consciously design. If you apply just one of these habits, your trajectory will shift. Apply all of them, and your reality will begin to mirror a higher version of you, one who acts from strength, clarity, and self-respect. No hype, no false promise. Just physics of the mind, laws of energy, and timeless principles of transformation distilled into action. This is not motivation, it's activation. Because readiness doesn't arrive before action, it's created by it. Today you begin. Start where you are. Use what you have. Move with what's available. Every small act of alignment is ignition. In physics, a body in motion tends to stay in motion. In life, a person in motion tends to stay becoming. Momentum is not granted, it's generated. Your life isn't waiting to change, it's waiting for you to begin. Chapter 1. Wake up with purpose and stop wasting time. The moment you wake up is the moment your direction begins. Most people open their eyes and fall instantly into reaction, checking messages, scrolling through noise, and letting the world claim their focus before they've even claimed themselves. And that's why they drift. not because they lack intelligence or talent, but because they start each day without intention. They begin as if their time doesn't matter. But time is life. To waste one is to lose the other. You don't get this day again. The seconds passing through your hands are not renewable. When you open your eyes each morning, you are gifted a portion of energy, mental, emotional, and physical, and how you spend that energy determines everything. To wake up without a plan is to hand your power over to randomness, but to wake up with purpose is to reclaim authorship over your life. Purpose is not a mystical calling. It's clarity about what matters and the discipline to act on it. It's saying, I know why I'm doing this, and I will give it meaning. When you wake up with that clarity, you become sharper, more grounded, and less available to distraction. That mental focus shifts your entire frequency from reaction to creation. From a biological view, the first 10 minutes after you wake are a neurological imprint. Your brain waves shift from theta to alpha, the state where subconscious patterns are most malleable. This means your first thoughts each morning literally program your nervous system for the day. If you reach for your phone, your body learns urgency before awareness. If you sit still, breathe, and choose focus, your system learns calm before chaos. You are conditioning your future self in those first moments. Purpose gives you direction, and direction gives you energy. It transforms fatigue into momentum, because now every action has a reason behind it. When your brain recognizes meaning, it releases dopamine, not just the pleasure chemical, but the molecule of drive. That's why people with purpose don't wait for motivation. Their purpose is their motivation. The opposite of purpose isn't confusion, it's drift. Drift happens when you live by default, repeating yesterday without thought. Same routines, same thoughts, same complaints. But nothing alive thrives without conscious renewal. To wake with purpose is to consciously command your energy before the world does. Ask yourself each morning, what am I building today? Not what's on my to-do list. What am I building? You build confidence by keeping small promises to yourself. You build peace by choosing focus over noise. You build strength by doing what you said you would, especially when it's hard. Each day becomes a brick in the architecture of your becoming. This isn't about being busy. Busyness is motion without meaning. Purpose is motion with direction. When you know your why, you start to say no to distractions automatically. That is self-respect in motion. The quiet power of someone who knows their time is sacred. Spiritually, purpose is alignment when your daily actions match your higher frequency. Every thought you hold, every habit you practice, emits a vibration. When you wake up consciously, you synchronize with that vibration instead of scattering it across trivialities. That's why mornings are sacred in nearly every ancient practice, not for ritual's sake, but because energy is most receptive at the dawn of awareness. If you begin your day in alignment, the universe responds in kind. Not magically, but lawfully. Energy follows order. When your inner world is organized around clarity, your outer world begins to reflect coherence. The simple act of waking with intention ripples into everything: how you speak, decide, connect, and create. When you wake tomorrow, resist the impulse to grab your phone. Sit still for 2 minutes. Feel your breath. Ask, what needs my presence today? Not what others demand, not what's urgent, what's essential. Write it down. That small moment of consciousness shifts the entire trajectory of your day. You will not always feel ready. But discipline is not about feeling ready. It's about honoring what you said you would do. When you keep that promise, your self-trust strengthens. And when self-trust strengthens, self-doubt weakens. That's how you begin to rewire your mind, through daily evidence that you are in control. Every sunrise is an invitation to choose awareness over autopilot, to choose direction over drift, to choose creation over consumption. Wake up as if your life depends on it, because it does. Stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for the right time. You are the right time. You are the permission. When you rise with purpose, the day bends to meet your intention. Chapter 2. Plan your day before the world distracts you. Before the noise begins, there is a moment of stillness, a sacred window between waking and reacting. That window is where power lives. What you choose to do with the first 20 minutes of your day decides whether you command your life or drift through it. The truth is, the world is designed to hijack your attention. The moment your feet hit the floor, demands start knocking messages, notifications, conversations, expectations. If you don't decide what matters first, everything else will. The world is relentless at stealing your focus because unfocused people are easy to control. But when you plan your day with intention, you reclaim authority over your time, your energy, and your mind. Planning is not about rigidity, it's about clarity. It's the act of deciding what deserves your energy before distractions decide for you. You're not scheduling tasks, you're designing outcomes. Without a plan, you become a reactor to everyone else's agenda. With a plan, you become a creator of momentum. Most people think planning limits freedom, but the opposite is true. Planning creates freedom. When you decide what matters in advance, you liberate your attention from chaos. Your brain no longer wastes energy wondering what to do next. It becomes a guided instrument, precise and steady. From a neurological view, every unmade decision consumes cognitive bandwidth. The human prefrontal cortex, your center for focus and reasoning, has limited capacity. If you start your day making trivial decisions, what to wear, what to eat, what to do first, you drain your willpower before you even reach the meaningful work. But when you plan ahead, you preserve your energy for what truly matters. You transform decision fatigue into deliberate action. So each morning, or better yet, each night before you sleep, create a simple map for your next day. It doesn't have to be elaborate. Write down your top 3 priorities, the 3 actions that, if done, would make your day feel like progress. Not 10, not 20. 3. This number keeps your focus sharp and achievable. Then block time for each one. Give your tasks a container so they can't spill into each other. Time boundaries create mental order. And then, when the day begins, follow the map. Don't wait to feel inspired. Follow the plan you made from clarity, not the impulses that rise from distraction. The act of honoring your own plan builds trust within yourself. Every time you follow through, your brain learns my word matters. Planning also quiets anxiety. The human mind is not designed to hold multiple open loops. When you juggle too many to-dos in your head, your nervous system interprets it as threat. Your body enters mild stress response. But when you write it out, your brain relaxes. You've transferred chaos into structure. You've told your subconscious, I've got this. From an energetic perspective, planning is grounding. It aligns your inner current with order, turning vague potential into clear direction. Thought becomes form through decision. The moment you plan, you send a signal to your mind, your body, and the field around you that you are in command of your day. Don't mistake motion for meaning. You can be busy all day and still move nowhere. You can fill your calendar and still feel hollow. Productivity is not about how much you do. It's about how intentionally you do it. The person who plans consciously may work fewer hours, but accomplish more, because every act is aligned with purpose, not panic. Before the world can pull you in, pull yourself inward. Sit quietly. Breathe. Ask, what must I complete today that moves me closer to who I want to be? When you answer honestly, you stop chasing every noise that passes by. You realize that most of what demands your attention doesn't deserve it. You cannot control everything that happens to you, but you can control what you give your focus to. And where focus goes, energy flows. Where energy flows, results grow. That's the law, not of magic, but of momentum. At the end of the day, peace doesn't come from doing everything. It comes from doing what matters and letting the rest go. Plan your day before the world distracts you. That's not just organization, that's self-respect in motion. It's the daily declaration that you lead your time instead of losing it. Because once you lose the morning, you spend the rest of the day trying to find it again. Chapter 3. Talk to yourself like someone you respect. Every single day you are having a conversation that no one else can hear, the conversation within your own mind. It shapes how you move, what you believe, and who you become. Yet most people speak to themselves in a way they would never speak to someone they love. They are harsh, impatient, and unforgiving with their own mistakes. And that inner tone, repeated for years, builds a cage around the mind. If you want to rewire your mindset, you must first rewire your language. Because language is not just communication, it's creation. The words you speak, even silently, form the blueprint of your reality. You cannot rise above the way you talk to yourself. If your inner dialogue is filled with criticism, I always mess things up, I'll never change, I'm not enough, your brain wires itself to confirm those beliefs. This isn't philosophy, it's neuroscience. The mind seeks coherence between thought and experience. When you constantly feed it negativity, it filters the world to prove you right. Every failure feels amplified, every success dismissed. You begin to live inside a distorted echo chamber of your own making. But the reverse is also true. When you speak to yourself with clarity, strength, and respect, you activate new neural pathways. You begin to expect better, see better, and do better. This is how mental rewiring works. Repetition of self-directed truth until it becomes automatic. Talking to yourself like someone you respect doesn't mean lying or inflating your ego. It means being fair. It means acknowledging effort without erasing progress. It's saying, I'm not there yet, but I'm growing. It's reminding yourself that failure is feedback, not identity. The ancient teachers said, the tongue shapes the heart. Today, science agrees self-talk influences mood, motivation, and even physical endurance. Studies show that athletes who use constructive inner dialogue perform stronger and recover faster. Your mind listens to your words like commands to the body. So every time you say, I can't, your body obeys. Every time you say, I can, your energy follows. Here's the deeper truth. Your inner voice is the conductor of your energy field. Words carry vibration. A harsh thought lowers your frequency. A respectful thought strengthens it. When you speak gently to yourself, you are not being soft. You are tuning your vibration to stability. And stability is power. Start noticing your automatic thoughts. When you catch one that attacks, pause. Don't argue, reframe. If the thought says, I always fail, replace it with, I'm learning what doesn't work, and that's progress. If it says, I'm not ready, respond, I'm becoming ready by acting. You are not pretending. You are practicing alignment with your higher truth. Think of it this way. If a child came to you in pain, you wouldn't insult them into strength. You would guide them with patience. Do the same for yourself. You are not your mistakes. You are the awareness that can correct them. Respectful self-talk builds the foundation of confidence. Confidence is not arrogance, it's self-trust. And self-trust grows when your inner voice becomes your ally, not your enemy. When you encourage yourself through difficulty, instead of punishing yourself for imperfection, you start moving through life with quiet certainty. You stop needing approval because you have your own. Some people believe that being hard on themselves keeps them disciplined. But discipline without compassion becomes destruction. Real discipline says, I expect more of myself because I know what I'm capable of. Self-abuse says, I'm worthless unless I win. One builds you, the other breaks you. Remember, your mind is always listening. Speak as if every word is programming your future, because it is. When you shift your internal tone, the external world begins to follow. You attract relationships, opportunities, and experiences that mirror the way you now see yourself. Respect is magnetic, so practice it. Each morning, look in the mirror and speak one sentence of truth, not flattery truth. Something like, I am learning to show up for myself. Repeat it until it feels real. And when your old voice returns, because it will, don't fight it. Just replace it. Every replacement is a small act of healing, a new neural pathway, a new vibration. You've spent years listening to the voice of doubt. Now train your mind to recognize the voice of power. Talk to yourself like someone you respect, with honesty, patience, and belief, because you are with yourself for life. Make that relationship one of strength, not sabotage. The conversation within is the first place freedom begins. Chapter 4. Take action when your mind says, delay. There's a moment, a split second, when your mind whispers, not now. That pause feels harmless, even reasonable. You tell yourself you'll start later when you feel ready, when the timing is better, when you have more energy. But that tiny hesitation is the invisible thief of transformation. Every great life was decided in the moment when a person chose to move, despite that voice. The truth is, your future is shaped in the seconds between intention and action. That's where destiny either ignites or dissolves. Every time you hesitate, you strengthen the neural pathway of avoidance. Every time you act, you rewire your brain for courage. The mind loves comfort. It mistakes safety for survival. So when you face something uncertain or difficult, your subconscious tries to protect you, not from danger, but from discomfort. It sends thoughts like, I'll do it tomorrow, or this isn't the right moment. It dresses resistance in logic. But resistance doesn't mean stop. It means you've reached the edge of growth. Here's what science shows. Action creates clarity, not the other way around. Motivation doesn't precede movement. Movement generates motivation. The brain's reward system releases dopamine after you begin, not before. So waiting to feel ready is like waiting for the fire before you strike the match. Every time you push past that hesitation, even in small ways, you train your mind to follow you. You prove that you are not a prisoner of thought, but a commander of it. Think of it as building mental muscle. The more you act in the face of resistance, the stronger that muscle becomes. The first 3 seconds of decision are crucial. Mel Robbins calls it the 5-second rule. But beyond any formula lies a timeless truth. The window between idea and execution determines your future. When hesitation appears, count down and move. Open the book. Write the email. Take the first step. The body in motion pulls the mind along. From an energetic perspective, delay creates stagnation. Energy that could have flowed outward into creation, expression movement becomes trapped within you. That trapped energy feels like anxiety, restlessness, guilt. The cure isn't overthinking, it's release, and release comes through action. When you move, you shift frequency. You allow energy to circulate again. You turn mental heaviness into kinetic flow. Think of the universe as a current. It responds to movement, not intention alone. The moment you act, reality reorganizes around that decision. You may not control outcomes, but you control momentum, and momentum is everything. Consider how many dreams you've delayed because of that one voice. The message you didn't send, the plan you didn't start, the discipline you postponed until next week. Those delays compound into regret, not because you failed, but because you never began. Inaction weighs more than failure ever will. Start to notice that voice of delay. Don't argue with it. Don't negotiate. Just act faster than it can speak. You don't need to finish everything, you just need to begin. Action itself is the teacher. Movement reveals direction. You'll correct course as you go, but nothing corrects standing still. When you delay, your confidence erodes. When you act, your identity upgrades. Every time you follow through, you send a message to your subconscious. I can trust myself. That's the foundation of power. Here's a simple practice. The next time your mind says, later, do it now. Even a micro step counts. Write one sentence, do one push-up, read one page. Momentum doesn't care about size, it only responds to initiation. Once you start, energy gathers around you. The universe rewards movement. And remember, perfection is the ego's excuse to delay. You don't need perfect conditions. You need willingness. The most powerful people you admire didn't act because they were fearless. They acted because they refused to let fear make their decisions. When you take action in the face of hesitation, you pierce the illusion of limitation. You realize that readiness was never something to wait for. It was something to create. So the next time your mind whispers, "Not today," smile and move anyway. That's the moment your future shifts, not with noise, but with quiet defiance. Action is the antidote to fear, the signal to the universe that you're serious about your growth. Don't wait for the right moment. Make this moment right by moving through it. Because every time you act, when your mind says delay, you win the battle. Most people never even fight. Chapter 5. Finish what you start today. Starting is easy. Anyone can begin with excitement, with motivation, with fire. But finishing is sacred. Finishing is where identity is forged. It's where commitment becomes character. Most people never finish because they confuse effort with completion. They begin with emotion, but end in hesitation. Yet true growth begins where excitement ends, in the quiet endurance of follow-through. When you leave things half done, a part of your energy stays trapped inside them. Psychologists call this the Zeigarnik effect. Unfinished tasks occupy mental space and drain focus. Spiritually, it's the same open loops leak energy. Every project you abandon, every promise you postpone, creates invisible clutter in your field. It's why you feel heavy, even when you're not doing much, because your energy is scattered across all the things you started, but never sealed. To finish what you start is to reclaim your power. It's a declaration I follow through. You close loops, you complete cycles, you free your mind to create again. Finishing gives birth to clarity, because your system recognizes resolution. The moment something is done, the energy tied to it is released. That release becomes momentum. Here's the truth. Discipline isn't about perfection. It's about completion. You don't have to do it flawlessly. You just have to do it fully. The mind respects closure. When you finish what you promised yourself, no matter how small, your self-trust deepens. And self-trust is the foundation of confidence. Without it, every new goal feels heavy. With it, every goal becomes lighter, because your subconscious knows, I keep my word. Every unfinished thing, that unread chapter, that workout skipped halfway, that conversation you meant to have, sits quietly in your background process, consuming your mental battery. It whispers, you still haven't done this. And the more of these whispers you collect, the more noise your mind endures. But the moment you finish, silence returns. The world teaches you to chase new beginnings, new goals, new habits, new projects. But mastery belongs to the ones who close loops. Anyone can start. Few can sustain. Even fewer can complete. Finishing builds integrity, and integrity is self-respect in motion. When you finish what you start, you send a frequency of reliability into your world. People begin to trust you. Opportunities begin to align with you. Why? Because completion emits coherence. The universe responds to those who finish cycles. That's the energetic law of return. From a practical perspective, finishing today prevents compounding delay tomorrow. Every time you carry something unfinished into the next day, you drag yesterday's weight into your future. That's how people get stuck. Not because life is unfair, but because they never close the chapter they're standing in. So make this a personal rule. If it can be finished today, finish it today. Not out of pressure, but out of peace. Completion doesn't mean exhaustion. It means liberation. It means you've done what you said, and now your energy can rest cleanly. There will be moments when fatigue whispers, you've done enough. But ask yourself, will stopping here bring peace or frustration later? True rest comes from completion, not avoidance. Finishing gives rest its meaning. When you feel resistance, remind yourself, this is the exact moment most people quit. And that's why most people stay the same. You are not most people. Push through the last 10%. The hardest part of the task isn't physical, it's psychological. The mind hates closure because closure means change. Every completion upgrades your identity, and the ego clings to the familiar. That's why it invents distractions right before you're done. But the power is in finishing. Even small completions accumulate into a new vibration of certainty. You stop doubting yourself because you have daily proof that you follow through. That inner evidence compounds into quiet confidence, the kind that doesn't shout, but radiates. From an energetic lens, every act of completion strengthens your frequency of stability. You become dependable, not just to others, but to yourself. You become grounded in motion, and that grounding attracts order in return, stable relationships, steady focus, consistent progress. So whatever you began today, finish it. The message, the workout, the journal entry, the plan. Don't leave your energy half open. Tie the knot. Seal the action. Because every unfinished task keeps you in yesterday, but every completion frees you for tomorrow. The ones who finish what they start are the ones who win quietly, not because they're lucky, but because they refuse to leave their own work incomplete. Start strong if you can, but finish stronger, even if it's messy, even if it's small. The day you master completion, you master momentum. Chapter 6. Say no to what drains your energy. Every day the world makes silent requests for your energy. Notifications, favors, conversations, obligations. all of them asking for a piece of your attention. And without realizing it, you give yourself away in small fragments until nothing is left for what truly matters. You don't burn out because you did too much. You burn out because you did too much of what didn't serve you. To grow, you must learn the art of a powerful no. A no rooted, not in defiance, but in clarity. A no that protects your focus like sacred ground. Because energy, not time, is your real currency. You can't create more hours, but you can protect your vitality. And that begins by choosing where you place your attention. Energy flows where attention goes. Whatever you say yes to expands. Whatever you allow repeatedly becomes your atmosphere. When you let draining people, empty habits, or meaningless obligations take root in your day, you lower your internal frequency. You trade your creative potential for temporary comfort or approval. But the price is always higher than you think, because everything that drains you steals more than minutes. It steals momentum. You might think saying yes keeps the peace, but it often does the opposite. Every unwanted yes is a quiet betrayal of yourself. You teach your subconscious that your boundaries are negotiable, that your peace is secondary. Over time, that becomes identity. You begin to feel powerless, scattered, and tired, not because life is heavy, but because your energy leaks through every open gate. The truth is, boundaries are not barriers, they are filters. They allow what nourishes you to enter and block what depletes you. And when your filters are clear, your energy rises. You think better. You create faster. You attract differently. People who respect themselves don't need to fight for space. Their clarity creates it. Look closely at your day. What strengthens you? What weakens you? What feels expansive and what feels constricting? Your body already knows the answer. Fatigue, frustration, or tightness are signals of energetic drain. Calm focus and lightness are signs of alignment. You don't need endless analysis. You need awareness and choice. Start practicing small no's. Decline what doesn't match your direction. Say no to the conversation that always leaves you depleted. Say no to the habit that numbs rather than nourishes. Say no to the task that keeps you busy but not fulfilled. Each no is an act of self-respect. Each no creates space for a more powerful yes. The yes to your priorities, your peace, your purpose. From a scientific view, constant distraction keeps your brain in a high cortisol state. Every time you say yes to something meaningless, you flood your system with stress hormones that drain focus and reduce creativity. From an energetic view, the same happens on another level. Low-value interactions create turbulence in your field. Saying no is how you stabilize that field again. And here's the paradox: saying no doesn't push the world away, it pulls clarity closer. The more selective you are with your energy, the more aligned your life becomes. You'll start attracting people and opportunities that match your higher vibration, because your boundaries broadcast your standards. The universe does not send abundance to confusion. It sends it to coherence. So, practice conscious refusal. When something feels wrong, you don't need to justify it endlessly. Your peace is reason enough. You owe the world your presence, not your depletion. It might feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you've spent your life being available to everyone. But discomfort is just the body adjusting to a higher frequency. You're not being selfish. You're becoming selective. You're no longer watering dead plants. You're redirecting energy toward what actually grows. The greatest leaders, creators, and thinkers are not the busiest, they are the most intentional. They say no often, so their yes carries weight. They understand that a scattered life is a silent surrender of power. So take inventory. What are you currently giving your energy to that gives nothing back? Write it down. One by one, begin closing those loops. Each closure feels like breathing again. Say no with peace, not guilt. Say no without apology. Say no with the quiet understanding that you're protecting something sacred, your attention, your vitality, your life force. Because energy is finite, and every yes you give the world should be worthy of your spirit. Chapter 7. Learn one new thing that sharpens your thinking. Your mind is your most powerful tool, but only if you keep it sharp. Most people let their minds rust through repetition. Same thoughts, same opinions, same stories recycled every day. They mistake activity for growth and noise for knowledge. But your world only expands when your understanding does. Learning deliberate, consistent learning is the master habit that rewires your mind for strength awareness and clarity. When you learn something new, you don't just gain information. You change the architecture of your brain. Each insight creates a new neural pathway. Each challenge strengthens the circuits of focus, discipline, and problem solving. Neuroplasticity isn't a concept. It's the living proof that your mind is alive, growing, and moldable until the day you stop using it. Learning is mental exercise, and like all exercise, it thrives on resistance. The best learning happens not when something feels easy, but when it feels slightly uncomfortable. That's the zone where your brain builds new connections. It's called desirable difficulty. When you wrestle with an idea, when you pause to reflect or apply, your understanding deepens. Passive reading is consumption. Active learning is transformation. You don't have to read a book a day or chase endless information. You just have to learn one new thing that sharpens your perspective, one idea that makes you think deeper, one concept that challenges your assumptions, one skill that strengthens your ability to create, solve, or understand. Growth is not measured by volume, but by application. In a distracted world, focused learning is rebellion. Your attention is constantly under siege: notifications, ads, opinions. But every minute spent in genuine curiosity strengthens the mental muscle of focus. It's how you reclaim sovereignty over your mind, because whatever you feed your attention to shapes your inner world. Garbage in confusion out. Wisdom in clarity out. And learning doesn't only mean reading. Observe people who live with excellence. Study systems that work. Reflect on your experiences and extract lessons. Every interaction, every mistake, every quiet moment contains data for your evolution if you are awake enough to see it. Here's a simple practice each day before you sleep. Ask yourself, what did I learn today that made me think differently? Maybe it's a principle, a quote, a realization. Write it down. That one act turns ordinary days into chapters of growth. Over weeks, you'll notice patterns, how small understandings compound into deep wisdom. From a spiritual lens, learning is energy expansion. Each new concept is a frequency upgrade. When you expose your mind to higher knowledge, ideas that stretch your awareness, philosophies that refine your consciousness, your energy field expands to match that frequency. This is why curiosity feels alive. It is the soul recognizing its own evolution. And from a scientific lens, consistent learning boosts dopamine and serotonin, the chemicals of motivation and satisfaction. Your brain rewards growth because progress equals survival. That's why stagnation feels so heavy. It's not just psychological, it's biological. You're built to evolve. Make learning part of your identity. Be the person who doesn't go to bed the same as they woke up. Be the one who hungers for understanding, not validation. Because knowledge applied becomes wisdom, and wisdom applied becomes freedom. One new thing a day. It doesn't sound like much, but it's how empires of thought are built. The accumulation of micro-insights creates macro-transformation. It's how your decisions sharpen your speech, refines your energy, stabilizes. Imagine if every day for a year you learned one truth that made you 1% wiser. You wouldn't just know more, you would become more. Don't let your mind grow dull from comfort. Challenge it. Feed it. Stretch it. Because when your thinking sharpens, your life follows. Every great transformation begins with a shift in understanding, and every shift begins with one new thing learned today. Chapter 8. Move your body to stop your mood from sinking. When your mind feels heavy, your first instinct is often to think more, to analyze, to fix, to reason your way out. But thinking doesn't always free you. Sometimes it deepens the trap. The fastest way to change your mind is to move your body. Motion breaks emotion. When energy gets stuck, it turns into stagnation. The invisible weight you call sadness, anxiety, or fatigue. Movement is how you release that weight. It's how you remind your body that life is flow, not freeze. You don't need to feel good to move. You move to feel good. Low moods build silently. They begin with stillness, isolation, shallow breathing, closed posture, the physical language of withdrawal. Your nervous system reads those cues and mirrors them back with chemicals that sustain the slump. But when you stand, stretch, breathe deeply, or take a walk, you send a new message to your brain. We are not stuck. And your physiology responds in kind. Blood circulates, oxygen rises, dopamine and serotonin activate, clarity begins to return. Every emotion has a rhythm. Anger pulses fast, sadness slows, fear contracts, joy expands. Movement changes rhythm, and rhythm changes emotion. That's not metaphor, it's biology. Physical motion signals the amygdala, your emotional control center, to recalibrate. It tells your system the threat is over. We can move again. That's why a few minutes of motion can do what hours of thinking can't. When you move your body, you open your energy channels. The ancient traditions called this prana, or chi, life force in motion. Science calls it biochemistry. But the truth is, the same motion revives flow. You can't think your way to flow. You have to move into it. Make this a daily habit. Don't wait for motivation. Move as medicine. Walk when you feel heavy. Stretch when your thoughts tighten. Breathe deeper when anxiety arrives. Go outside, sunlight on your skin resets your circadian rhythm and lifts serotonin. Let your feet touch the earth. It grounds your electromagnetic field and calms your nervous system. Even small acts count. 2 minutes of jumping, 10 deep breaths, a short dance in your room, a quick set of push-ups. Each one tells your body, we are alive, we are moving forward. You're not chasing perfection. You're reactivating your current. Most people treat the body as a servant to the mind. But in truth, the body leads the mind. Your posture teaches your brain how to feel. Slouch and your thoughts sink. Straighten and they lift. This is not symbolic, it's neural feedback. The vagus nerve connects your body to your emotional state. When you move, you're speaking the body's language of renewal. Movement also teaches resilience. When you push through physical resistance, finishing that last rep, running that last minute, holding that stretch longer than comfort, you train your brain to stay calm under pressure. That same endurance carries into mental challenges. The body becomes your first classroom in discipline, and beyond science, movement is sacred. It's prayer in motion. Every step, every stretch, every breath is a conversation with life. I am here, and I am still moving. When you move intentionally, you turn inertia into energy. You align your physical rhythm with the natural pulse of the universe, ever flowing, never stagnant. So when your mood begins to sink, don't spiral inward. Stand up. Roll your shoulders back. Lift your chest. Take one step, then another. You don't have to run from your feelings. Just refuse to sit in them. Because energy trapped in the body becomes emotion, but energy released becomes freedom. Move before the mood takes over. You'll find that you weren't broken. You were just still for too long. The strongest people aren't those who never fall low. They're the ones who know how to rise through movement. Move your body, and your mind will follow. Chapter 9. Look back at today and ask what improved. At the end of every day, when the noise fades and the world slows down, there's a quiet doorway waiting for you, a moment between completion and rest. Most people rush past it. They collapse into distraction, scroll through feeds, or drown in tomorrow's worries. But those few silent minutes before sleep hold immense power. They are your laboratory for transformation. Reflection is not nostalgia. It's self-alignment. It's the art of reviewing your day, not to judge it, but to understand it. Because awareness, not effort, is the foundation of growth. You can't improve what you don't observe. Ask yourself one question. What improved today? Not was today perfect. Not did I achieve everything. Just what got better even slightly. Maybe you controlled your reaction in a conversation. Maybe you chose patience instead of frustration. Maybe you took one small action instead of procrastinating again. These are victories invisible to the world, but monumental to your evolution. Your mind is wired to notice flaws, to focus on what went wrong. It's a survival bias, not a personal flaw. But left unchecked, that bias becomes self-sabotage. You start believing you're not progressing even when you are. Reflection breaks that illusion. It reminds your mind that progress exists, slow, steady, undeniable. Write it down. Even just one line a night today, I improved in. That single act of recognition rewires your perception of yourself. You stop seeing effort as struggle and start seeing it as growth. Over time, those small records of progress compound into identity. You begin to believe, I am someone who improves. From a psychological lens, this is powerful conditioning. Each time you consciously acknowledge progress, your brain releases dopamine, not for achieving perfection, but for movement toward it. This chemical reward reinforces your desire to keep going. You begin to crave consistency, not validation. From an energetic perspective, reflection integrates your experiences. Throughout the day, your energy expands outward action, interaction, creation. Reflection is the inward flow that restores balance. It gathers the scattered fragments of your attention and returns them home. Without it, you go to bed mentally fragmented. With it, you rest whole. Don't confuse reflection with rumination. Reflection looks at events with clarity. What worked? What didn't? What can be adjusted? Rumination repeats pain without purpose. Reflection releases it. It's not about dwelling, it's about digesting, taking in what serves your growth, and letting the rest go. Even 5 minutes is enough. Sit quietly. Dim the lights. Breathe deeply. Replay your day, not as a critic, but as a scientist. What patterns do you see? What reactions repeat? What moments lit you up and which drained you? These answers are your instruction manual for tomorrow. If you do this daily, something subtle yet profound begins to happen. You stop living reactively. You start living consciously. You wake up already aware of what you're improving, not blindly repeating what you regret. This practice builds emotional intelligence. It teaches you to separate who you are from what you did. It helps you see your triggers, your strengths, your blind spots, all without shame. Awareness doesn't demand perfection. It invites responsibility. You'll notice that as reflection becomes a ritual, your self-talk shifts. The voice that once judged begins to guide. The noise that once scattered you begins to quiet. Because when you end your day with awareness, your mind learns to rest in truth instead of tension. And from a spiritual view, daily reflection strengthens coherence, the alignment between thought, emotion, and energy. It's how you tune your frequency each night before entering the subconscious realm of sleep. You sleep not as the same person who woke up, but as someone slightly more integrated, slightly more whole. So tonight, before you close your eyes, pause. No screens, no noise, just you and your day. Ask gently what improved. Don't search for grand changes. Honor the small ones. The small shifts are what build empires of strength over time. Improvement is not an event, it's a rhythm. Every night you recognize growth, you strengthen that rhythm. Every night you reflect, you turn experience into wisdom. You don't need to end every day with perfection. You just need to end it with awareness. Progress is invisible until you look for it. So look and see how far you've already come. Chapter 10. Stick to good habits until they become who you are. Starting a habit is easy. Keeping it, that's where the transformation happens. Anyone can begin when motivation is high, when the goal feels exciting, when hope is fresh. But the ones who change their lives are the ones who keep going when the spark fades, when it's inconvenient, when no one's watching. Habits are not about willpower. They're about identity. Every time you repeat an action, you cast a vote for the kind of person you want to be. One workout says I'm someone who moves. One focused hour says I'm someone who finishes. One kind word says I'm someone who leads with grace. These votes accumulate until they become your self-image. You don't force change. You become the person for whom the habit is natural. Most people quit because they measure success too early. They expect fireworks from a candle flame. But change begins quietly, like gravity pulling you toward a new orbit. You don't see it daily, but the momentum builds underneath. The small choices you repeat are writing your future in invisible ink. Here's the truth. Discipline is more reliable than motivation. Motivation is a visitor. Discipline is a resident. Motivation shows up when it feels like it. Discipline shows up because it's who you are now. When you commit to consistency, you stop negotiating with your excuses. You stop asking, "Do I feel like it?" and start declaring, "It's what I do." From a neurological view, every repetition strengthens a pathway in your brain. Cue routine reward. The more consistent the pattern, the less resistance the brain offers. That's why the first 30 days of a new habit feel hard. You're building the road. After that, it becomes autopilot, the path of least resistance. But here's the paradox. Your brain only automates what you honor repeatedly. Skip often, and it forgets. Persist, and it locks in. That's why never miss twice is one of the most powerful rules you can live by. Missing once is human. Missing twice becomes pattern. The second miss is where identity slips back into the old self. Guard that second time, like sacred ground. If you fall off track, return immediately. The speed of your recovery matters more than the size of your mistake. From an energetic perspective, every habit emits a frequency. The higher the integrity behind the habit, the stronger the frequency it generates. When you stay consistent, you build energetic momentum. The universe begins to synchronize with your rhythm. You start to experience flow opportunities. appear. Clarity sharpens results compound. It's not magic, it's resonance. Your internal order starts attracting external order. There's a myth that good habits require extreme effort forever. But the real magic happens when effort turns to ease. The moment you no longer argue with yourself. That's mastery. That's when the gym, the journal, the study session, the daily reflection stop being tasks and start being expressions of who you are. Think of your habits as roots unseen, but vital. They hold the structure of your life upright. When you water them daily, your foundation becomes unshakable. Without them, no matter how big your goals look, they collapse under pressure. Be patient. True transformation moves like seasons, slow, steady, inevitable. The seed doesn't question whether it's growing. It just keeps reaching for light. You are that seed. Every repetition, every choice, every moment of follow-through is sunlight. Keep your habits small enough to sustain, but sacred enough to matter. Don't let perfection ruin consistency. Some days you'll perform at 100%, some days at 40%. But as long as you show up, you're winning. Consistency beats intensity when the goal is identity. And here's the deeper lesson. Habits are not just actions. They are spiritual alignments. Every consistent practice trains your energy to match the person you're becoming. You are building coherence between thought, behavior, and belief. That's how new realities stabilize, not through sudden change, but through repeated truth. So stick to your good habits until they feel like breathing, not because you have to, but because they've become who you are. You won't need to remind yourself, you'll just be it. And that's when you'll know you've stopped chasing change and started living it. Chapter 11. Attention is biology and currency. Your attention is the most valuable thing you own, more valuable than time, money, or talent. Time passes no matter what you do, but attention decides what your time becomes. Whatever captures your attention captures your life. You live in the age of distraction, a world designed to fragment your focus, to turn your attention into profit for others. Notifications, headlines, endless scrolling, every sound, every color, every vibration, competing to steal the energy of your awareness. And the price is invisible but immense. A scattered mind, shallow focus, restless energy, and a constant feeling that you're doing everything yet completing nothing. Focus is not about doing more, it's about directing energy with precision. Your attention is your life force. It's biological and energetic. Every thought you sustain consumes glucose, oxygen, and electrical activity in your brain. That means attention is not abstract. It's physical. You feel drained not because you worked too long, but because your focus was fractured into too many fragments. Where your attention goes, energy flows. This is both neuroscience and ancient truth. In quantum terms, observation collapses possibility into reality. Your focus literally gives form to what you experience. In spiritual terms, attention is prayer. Whatever you repeatedly focus on becomes the world you inhabit. That's why you must protect it ruthlessly. Each time you jump between tasks, answering messages, checking updates, switching tabs, your brain pays a cost. It takes roughly 20 minutes to regain deep focus after a single interruption. Most people never even reach that depth anymore. They live in permanent surface mode, fast, reactive, exhausted. Deep focus, on the other hand, is renewal. When you give full attention to one thing, your nervous system synchronizes, heart rate stabilizes, breathing deepens, brain waves slow. You enter coherence, the biological signature of presence. It's not just productivity, it's peace. Train your attention like a muscle. Set time for single tasking, even just 25 minutes of uninterrupted work. Put your phone in another room. Block out noise. When your mind drifts, notice and return without judgment. Each return is a rep. You are strengthening your ability to direct energy at will. You'll start to notice something profound as your attention sharpens, your anxiety quiets. Because most anxiety is unspent attention, ricocheting between unfinished loops. Focus collects those fragments. It gathers your scattered power into a single beam. That's when you stop feeling drained and start feeling decisive. From an energetic lens, attention is currency in the universal marketplace. Whatever you spend it on expands. When you pour attention into fear, fear multiplies. When you invest it in growth, growth compounds. The universe doesn't judge your spending. It simply reflects your investment. So become conscious of where your mind goes when it wanders. Are you feeding peace or chaos, strength or distraction? Your reality is a mirror of your most consistent focus. Attention also determines emotional health. If you constantly focus on what's missing, you vibrate lack. If you focus on what's improving, you vibrate gratitude. And gratitude neurologically rewires the brain for resilience. It trains your attention to seek positive patterns. That's not delusion, it's direction. Think of yourself as an investor of awareness. Every moment is a choice. Do you deposit energy into what builds you or what drains you? Your focus decides your future returns. To reclaim your power, practice presence. Slow down. When you eat, just eat. When you walk, just walk. When you speak, just speak. Full presence multiplies energy because no vitality leaks into distraction. You don't need to meditate for hours, you just need to be here fully. In this task, this breath, this moment. Because attention is life. The quality of your attention determines the quality of your reality. So spend it wisely, protect it fiercely, direct it consciously. Your energy follows your gaze. Make sure it's pointed somewhere worth becoming. Chapter 12. Your environment is your invisible mindset. You become what surrounds you. Every space you inhabit, every sound you hear, every face you see, all of it is quietly shaping your energy, your habits, and your future. You can't rise above an environment that constantly pulls you backward. Most people underestimate this truth. They believe willpower is enough. They think discipline is internal. But environment is willpower in physical form. The space you live in either strengthens your focus or fractures it. The people around you either elevate your vibration or drain it. The information you consume either expands your awareness or clouds it. Look around. Your environment is your mirror. The clutter on your desk reflects the clutter in your mind. The noise in your feed reflects the noise in your thoughts. The people you tolerate reflect the energy you're willing to allow. From a biological view, your surroundings directly regulate your nervous system. Light, sound, and color can calm or agitate you. A messy room subtly elevates cortisol, the stress hormone keeping your body in a low-level state of alert. But a clear space, gentle light, and intentional order signal safety. And safety is what allows creativity, focus, and peace to bloom. From an energetic view, every object holds vibration. A room filled with things you don't love. Clothes you've outgrown, projects you've abandoned, reminders of who you used to be, holds you in an old frequency. When you clear it, you free energy. That's why decluttering often feels like relief, like oxygen, returning to the room. You're not just cleaning, you're releasing outdated energy signatures. Your environment is also your silent teacher. The books on your shelf, the art on your wall, the music in your background, they educate your subconscious daily. Without realizing it, you absorb the tone of your surroundings. If your space feels chaotic, your thoughts will echo that. If it feels intentional, your life will too. So ask yourself, does where you live align with where you want to go? Does your daily setting reflect the identity you're building or the one you've outgrown? Start small. You don't need to move across the world to shift your energy. Sometimes it begins with opening a window, lighting a candle, playing music that grounds you, or organizing a single corner. These acts seem trivial, but energetically they declare, I'm preparing for expansion. Surround yourself with reminders of who you're becoming, quotes that lift your energy, visuals that remind you of your vision, objects that symbolize growth. These anchors reprogram your environment to support your evolution instead of resisting it. Equally important is your social environment. Energy is contagious. Spend enough time around doubt, and your dreams will start to shrink. Spend enough time around belief, and your courage multiplies. You don't rise alone, you rise in resonance. Choose carefully whose energy you allow into your field. You're not being harsh, you're being precise with your vibration. In physics, resonance is when one vibrating object amplifies another of the same frequency. Spiritually, it's the same when you're around people and places that match your higher self. Your energy stabilizes and strengthens. You stop forcing growth and start flowing into it. If you want to rewire your mindset, start by rewiring your surroundings. Place yourself in spaces that reflect clarity, intention, and light. Remove what feels heavy, uninspired, or expired. You don't need perfection. You need alignment. Every time you organize your space, curate your company, or simplify your inputs, you make it easier for your energy to rise to its next level. Because your environment isn't just where you live, it's what you become. Chapter 13. The energy of discipline. Discipline is not punishment. It's power in motion. The alchemy of intention, turned into structure of dreams, turned into design. People misunderstand it because they see discipline as restriction, when in truth, it is liberation. Freedom does not come from doing whatever you want. It comes from having mastery over your impulses. Most people wait for motivation, but motivation is like fire in dry grass, bright, brief, unreliable. Discipline is the sun, steady, constant, eternal. It doesn't flare, it sustains. Discipline is not emotional. It doesn't care how you feel in the moment. It aligns you with what you decided when you were clear. It is the bridge between your high self and your human self, between vision and execution. From a biological perspective, discipline is energy regulation. Every time you resist distraction, you rewire your brain's dopamine system. You shift from chasing cheap highs to cultivating deep satisfaction. The same circuits that once sought instant reward begin to crave progress instead. That's how self-mastery is built, repetition of integrity. Think about it. Each small act of discipline, finishing a task, showing up on time, saying no when it's easier to say yes, creates coherence in your energy field. Coherence is when thought, emotion, and action move in one direction. When you live that way, your energy stops leaking into chaos. It becomes concentrated like a laser instead of scattered light. That's why disciplined people seem calm, even in chaos. Their focus anchors their energy. Their structure is not rigidity, it's containment. Without it, life spills everywhere. With it, power gathers. From a spiritual lens, discipline is devotion. It is your daily prayer in motion, proof that you honor the potential you've been given. Every act of consistency is a message to the universe, I'm ready to hold more. You expand your energetic capacity through responsible repetition. The universe gives more to those who can sustain more. You don't need to be harsh with yourself to be disciplined. In fact, true discipline is gentle but immovable, like a river carving stone. It doesn't force. It flows with purpose. You build it by keeping promises to yourself, not through guilt, but through respect. Each kept promise is an act of energetic self-trust, and that trust becomes your foundation. There's also a rhythm to discipline. It's not about doing everything all the time. It's about doing the right thing consistently enough that your body and mind begin to sync. This rhythm creates harmony in your nervous system, predictable cycles of effort and rest, focus and recovery. That's when discipline becomes natural, not effortful. Ask yourself, what does discipline look like for me right now? Not the fantasy version, but the grounded one. Maybe it's waking up without snoozing. Maybe it's writing for 20 minutes. Maybe it's choosing silence over distraction. Discipline isn't about the scale, it's about sincerity. The moment you act with discipline, you shift your frequency. You stop being controlled by emotion and start being guided by principle. Emotion says, I don't feel like it. Discipline says, do it anyway. Emotion seeks comfort. Discipline seeks alignment, and alignment is the birthplace of peace. Over time, discipline evolves into something beautiful: grace. When the structure you built begins to carry you. When showing up is no longer a fight, but a flow. That's when your energy has fully integrated order. You don't need to wait to feel powerful. Discipline is power. It's the vibration of sovereignty, of being in command of your own mind, your own time, your own destiny. Let every act of discipline remind you that you are the creator, not the created. The sculptor, not the clay. The one who commands energy, not the one consumed by it. That's the energy of discipline, calm, focused, unstoppable. Chapter 14. Trust the timing of your growth. Growth rarely arrives on your schedule. You can plant, nurture, and prepare, but you cannot demand that the seed bloom before its season. The universe does not operate by your impatience. It moves according to alignment. You will not receive what you want when you want it. You will receive it when you are ready for it. Impatience is the illusion that life is late, but life is never late. It is exact, precise, orchestrated by laws larger than your plans. Your only task is to stay faithful in the in-between, the space between planting and harvest effort, and evidence becoming and being. Most people give up, not because they lack talent, but because they cannot endure the silence of growth. They mistake stillness for stagnation, delay for denial. But nothing alive grows visibly every day. Even the most radiant tree spends half its existence in unseen expansion roots, deepening structure, strengthening. You are no different. Trust that what you are doing now is building something real beneath the surface. Every disciplined act, every small decision, every moment of self-control is an invisible deposit into the foundation of your future. You cannot always see the return yet, but it's accruing interest in silence. From a psychological perspective, uncertainty is what activates the brain's fear circuitry. It hates the unknown. That's why waiting feels like pain. But when you shift from anxiety to trust, you deactivate that circuitry. Your body moves from stress to coherence. Trust is not passivity. It's alignment with the deeper rhythm of creation. From an energetic perspective, timing is intelligence. The universe synchronizes events through vibration. When your energy matches what you desire, it appears not before, not after. If something hasn't arrived yet, it's not punishment, it's precision. Either your energy isn't stable enough to sustain it, or the path still needs preparation. Trust is a frequency. It's the vibration of calm expectation, the quiet knowing that things are aligning even when you can't see them. That frequency draws what you need faster than anxiety ever could. Anxiety chases. Trust attracts. When you trust the process, you stop forcing and start flowing. You learn to recognize divine detours, the rejections that are redirections, the delays that are calibrations. Life doesn't withhold, it rearranges. Every pause is a portal for integration, time given to mature into what you asked for. Growth unfolds in cycles, expansion, contraction, integration, rest. The world glorifies the expansion phase. The visible wins the movement, the rise. But true mastery happens in contraction and rest, the silent stages where energy consolidates and identity stabilizes. Don't rush those. They're sacred. Think of a heartbeat, expand, contract. Think of breath, inhale, exhale. Growth follows the same rhythm. If you only celebrate expansion, you'll burn out. If you honor contraction, you'll evolve. Sometimes what looks like nothing is the most important phase of everything. The silence between chapters is where your energy resets. The wait is not a void, it's a womb. Trust doesn't mean you stop working. It means you stop forcing. You still plant, you still water. But you let the sun and soil do their part without tearing up the ground every day to see if it's working. Trust the delays. They are data. Every unanswered desire reveals where you're still attached to outcome instead of essence. Every slow chapter tests your belief in unseen progress. Your timeline is not behind. You are not late. You are synchronizing with something larger, a choreography of purpose that ensures you arrive exactly when your frequency can sustain what's coming. So breathe. Stay the course. Keep tending the garden even when you can't see the sprout. The harvest always comes, not when you expect it, but when you've become the person capable of receiving it. The universe has perfect timing, and so do you when you trust it. Chapter 15. Live in alignment, not approval. You were not born to please the world. You were born to express truth. The difference between peace and exhaustion is alignment. Every time you betray your inner knowing to earn approval, your energy fractures. Every time you choose authenticity over acceptance, your power returns. Most people are trained to prioritize validation, grades, likes, praise, applause. They spend years editing their essence to fit the expectations of others, becoming experts at imitation, but strangers to themselves. But external approval is a moving target. The more you chase it, the further it drifts. Alignment, on the other hand, is stable. It comes from within, the quiet, steady, knowing that your thoughts, words, and actions are synchronized with your values. Alignment doesn't seek permission. It radiates conviction. When you live out of alignment, your nervous system knows. Your body tightens. Your energy dulls. You feel anxious even when things look fine. That's not random. It's feedback. Misalignment creates energetic dissonance, a gap between who you are and who you're pretending to be. From a psychological view, this is cognitive dissonance, the tension that arises when behavior conflicts with belief. The longer you live that way, the heavier you feel. It's not depression, it's suppressed authenticity. Your system is begging for congruence. From an energetic view, alignment is coherence. When your inner and outer worlds vibrate at the same frequency, you become magnetic. Things begin to flow, the right people, the right timing, the right ideas. Energy moves without resistance. That's why aligned people seem lucky, but it's not luck, it's resonance. To live in alignment, you must first know what you stand for. Ask yourself, what do I value when no one's watching? What decisions make me feel light versus heavy? What does truth feel like in my body? Your intuition always answers, not in noise, but in sensation. Truth feels expansive. Lies feel constrictive. If you need to justify, explain, or overthink it, it's not aligned. You don't owe anyone the diluted version of yourself. The people meant for you will recognize your frequency without translation. Those who don't were never meant to walk your path. The fear of losing people keeps most trapped in false harmony. But the moment you choose truth, you stop losing energy and start gaining power. Approval is borrowed peace. Alignment is earned peace. One fades the moment opinions change. The other anchors you through chaos. Understand this: alignment does not always look comfortable. Sometimes it requires walking away, saying no, or starting over. But discomfort is the price of integrity. The more authentic you become, the smaller your circle gets, but the stronger your field becomes. From a cosmic perspective, alignment is evolution. Every time you choose authenticity, your frequency rises. You move closer to your higher self, the version of you that operates from love, not fear. And as you rise, old environments, relationships, and patterns will naturally fall away. Don't chase what's collapsing. It's clearing space. When you live in alignment, you stop trying to control outcomes. You start trusting that being true to yourself is the highest strategy there is. You act not to be seen, but because it's who you are. That purity of action carries immense energetic precision. It moves mountains quietly. So choose alignment, even when it's misunderstood. Choose truth, even when it costs you comfort. Choose integrity, even when it slows your progress. Because alignment is not about speed, it's about direction. And when your direction is true, you never get lost. Stop chasing approval. Start embodying authenticity. Because peace isn't found in being liked, it's found in being real. Conclusion. Rewire your mindset. Reclaim your life. Everything you've heard, every habit, every principle, every reflection leads back to one truth. Your life will never rise higher than your mindset. But here's the deeper truth. Most never realize your mindset isn't fixed. It's not a personality. It's a pattern of energy and attention that can be rewired, reshaped, reawakened. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness behind them, the architect who can redesign the structure of your inner world. When you understand this, life stops happening to you and starts happening through you. Rewiring your mind is not about forcing positivity. It's about alignment, shifting from reaction to creation. Each thought becomes a tool, each habit a signal, each decision a vibration that builds your reality in real time. The practices in this audiobook, waking with purpose, planning with intention, acting without delay, guarding your energy, trusting your timing, are not random. They are codes for coherence. Together, they train your nervous system, your attention, and your spirit to move in one rhythm. Because success, peace, confidence, none of these are accidents. They are the natural byproducts of alignment between mind, energy, and action. From a scientific view, repetition reshapes the neural wiring of your brain. Neurons that fire together wire together. Each time you choose discipline over delay, focus over distraction, clarity over chaos, you strengthen new pathways. And with enough repetition, the new self becomes automatic. From an energetic view, every habit radiates frequency. Each act of awareness lifts your vibration. Each moment of integrity expands your field. The higher your frequency, the smoother your life moves, not because problems vanish, but because your energy no longer resonates with confusion. This is not mysticism, it's resonance. When you think clearly, act purposefully, and speak truthfully. The universe mirrors that order back to you. Reality becomes cooperative instead of resistant. Understand this deeply. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. That's why real transformation is not about chasing, it's about becoming. Be the person who wakes up with clarity. Be the person who guards their energy like gold. Be the person who speaks to themselves with respect. Be the person who acts when the mind hesitates. Be the person who trusts divine timing and stays steady. Every day you live in alignment with these truths, you rewire your destiny. This is not just self-improvement, it's self-creation, the conscious rewriting of your internal code. And once you truly begin, you will never go back to living on autopilot again, because you'll know in your bones that you are not a product of circumstance. You are a conductor of energy, a designer of thought, and a sculptor of time. Your future is not waiting, it's responding. So wake up with purpose. Speak truth with power. Act with courage. Guard your focus. Finish what you start. Trust your timing. And keep going, one habit, one thought, one decision at a time. Because the moment you choose awareness over autopilot, you've already begun the rewiring. The rest is momentum. The rest is you becoming unstoppable. If something you heard today shifted your perspective, help it reach one more person who's ready for change. And if you want to keep growing with us, subscribe. This space will be here when you need it.